was a queen. She lived in Queens.
Hi lovelies, I am Queen Lovelee. Welcome back to Melanated Crowns. So today I wanted to come on here and do a video about the hypergamous movement and the femininity movement. This is actually a video that is like way overdue because I've been wanting to talk about this. Before I get into this topic, please hit the thumbs up and make sure you contribute to the conversation that will be happening in the comments. It helps us get into the algorithm and get more views. Thank you so much for watching. Now let's get into the video. So I feel like we're at a point where I can do this video because the hypergamous movement and femininity movement has literally been like all anyone has talked about in 2020. And I'm pretty sure before that you had content creators talking about it, but it has blown up and gotten very popular. And as we know, when something becomes very popular and romanticized, it begins to become diluted because the true essence of what that said topic or trend represents, it just gets lost in other people smacking their names and opinions on it. So the problem that I personally have with the femininity movement and the hypergamy movement, based off of the multitude of content creators and podcasts I have listened to, and I'm not saying that I've listened to every content creator who talks about this subject matter. I'm just going off of my experience. This is my opinion and my perspective. I want to make that very clear. The problem that I'm beginning to have is that it's starting to come across as a black and white situation with no gray areas and very shallow. So what I mean by that is femininity, according to societal standards and the way in which it has been perpetuated so many times over across a multitude of YouTube channels and, Twitter accounts and Instagram accounts, is your ability to present in a certain way that makes you desirable enough to attract or manifest a type of man in your life that will want to provide for you and take on those masculine duties because you are resting in your feminine. Kind of like a opposites attracts sort of thing. Yin yang, the sperm chases the egg. Y'all get the point. And, me being a spiritual advisor and having Melanated Crowns, which is all about activating your divine femininity, I am always giving suggestive approaches and tailoring my content to how Black women specifically can work on their internal, which consists of your emotional health, your mental health, and your spiritual health. Because if those three things are out of alignment, then losing weight, learning how to put a lace front on, learning how to beat your face, getting all the Fashion Nova bodysuits and all the Fendi bags and Birkin bags, that's not going to prevent you from continuing a cycle of toxicity when it comes to your interpersonal relationships, specifically romantic relationships, okay? And I often find that when I listen to these channels, they don't spend too much time talking about that. And granted, everybody could run their platform how they see fit. You may very much so have some platforms where it's like, this is the channel you come to after you go to therapy, after you heal your childhood trauma, after you do your shadow work, and then you could come here and learn how to level up in a physical and material sense. And there's absolutely nothing wrong with that, right? Those people, those content creators of those channels may not have the tenor or the range or be able to contextualize how to do that internal shadow work and introspection, but they may be very skilled in communicating, this is the type of shoe you wear, and you want to have a flat heel and a kitten heel and a sneaker wedge and whatever the case may be, the shit, I don't know. But y'all get the point. It's a lot of channels popping up like every single day across YouTube that's teaching you how to laugh and how to wave and how you should look and this is what you should wear. And I don't see enough channels on YouTube that is really teaching you about divine femininity, going within, doing your shadow work, meditating, praying, reading certain literature, and so on and so forth. And, when it comes to the hypergamy part of the conversation, what has always turned me off and what is, continues to turn me off is that while I'm all for Black women dating up and getting men that are high earners and put them in a position where they have options to rest in their femininity, if they have a baby, instead of having to rush back to work after 3 to 6 months, the next 2 years while their child is taking their first steps and saying their first words and, their first day at daycare, they can be there and maybe start up a little business at home. I have no problem with that. I love that Black women are putting themselves in positions to have those options. Additionally, we have to remember to constantly talk about discernment and intuition and healing, because you can attract a man in a physical sense that can provide all of these physical things for you. But if he is narcissistic, if he is a serial cheater, if he is abusive, you're still back at stage one. And I feel like some of these channels like to perpetuate messages as if like, well, would you rather be in that fucked up situation and be broken down? Or would you rather, at least have your hair and nails done and be glowing on the outside, but at least while you're dying on the inside, you're doing it in like a 54,000 square foot house in a Rolls Royce? And I just can't get behind that messaging. I can't get behind that messaging. Maybe it's my Sagittarius sun, moon, and rising. We're very optimistic, but I don't believe in settling, and I don't believe in choosing between the lesser of two evils. I feel like if life affords you the option and the opportunity, you don't have no kids yet, you're not married, or maybe you are married, whatever the case may be, you should always set your intentions to get the best of the best. And yeah, life may not hand us what we want the way that we see it, but as long as you're actively working to better yourself as a woman and a spiritual being, God is not going to let you down and forget about you. And God won't put you in a predicament where your material and physical needs is met, but emotionally, spiritually, and mentally, you're suffering. So I don't really like the turn that's happening with the femininity and hypergamous movement, because not only is it becoming oversaturated, but there's not enough gray areas. Like, I have yet to see a video about the cons of being in a hypergamous relationship. I have yet to see a video about dating a man who makes $1 million or more a year, but he has a career that requires him to travel about 6 months out of the year. If you like add up all the weekends and days and all of that, I have yet to see those videos. And I think it's very imperative that we add some balance to this conversation, because once again, while I love this movement that's happening in the Black female community as it pertains to leveling up in a physical and internal and spiritual way, you also don't want to lead Black women over a bridge of like lollipops and gumdrops and just, fantasies, and have them think that they're going to get like this happily ever after without a hiccup in the road, because it's just going to happen. That's just life. I'll never forget, there's this very popular content creator, and this was actually the first YouTube channel that I had subscribed to that talked about hypergamy and femininity. And I had put in the comments under one of her videos where she was applauding Lori Harvey for dating P. Diddy, that I don't think this should be applauded, because Diddy allegedly is a well-known abuser. He's known to be very abusive, financially, verbally, and physically. You know what I mean? So I don't think that should be applauded in the name of her being in a hypergamous relationship. And back then, and this was earlier in 2020, that's when I begin to side-eye the movement, because I just was like, yeah, if there's not going to be no gray areas and we're not going to have realistic conversations about the ups and the downs to hypergamous relationships, I'm not saying that I'm going to abandon the movement, but I just feel bad for young Black women, middle-aged Black women, and grown Black women who are just blindly listening, jotting notes down, and watching without asking these questions for themselves. I'm able to chew the meat and spit the bones. I'm able to compartmentalize information and take what's for me. But you have a lot of broken women internally, okay, that come to YouTube and come to the internet in efforts to find the answers that, really lie within them. And they'll just take anything that sounds good and makes them feel good in the moment and run with it. So, we, myself included, have to be very careful when we take on this role and this responsibility, because heavy is the head that wears the crown, to center our content around teaching and giving suggestive approaches about one's lifestyle and, how they could live and how it could be better. We have to put the good and the bad. And I just want to reiterate before I close this video out, I highly encourage and suggest that before you start your femininity glow up, you start with your divine femininity glow up. You connect to that divine feminine source that lies within you. And once you get to a certain stage within that, then you can begin to do the outer work of femininity, because there's a lot of beautiful, drop dead gorgeous women that never miss a beat. Their nails is always done, hair edges always laid, they always dress to the nines, but inside they're broken. And we see this all the time. Look to reality television, look to the shade room, look to social media. You have these beautiful, drop dead gorgeous girls that got the money, the cars, the career, everything, but because they don't have the self-esteem and their spiritual infrastructure is in disalignment, it's just like you're pretty on the outside, but what do you have to offer from within? Where's your substance? Where's your self-esteem? And where's your self-value and your sacredness? So that's all I have to say on this matter. I hope you all have a lovely night, and thank you for watching.